I'll be open to anything that's reasonable. But stop trying to spoon feed people crap, okay? It is not true to say that mother is true mother because of her lineage was prepared. Let's move on.
Preparing for the Messiah, sewing clothes for the Messiah, preparing meals for the Messiah to come. And all of these people were put into prison in North Korea, and most of them were killed.
Wait, don't they set food for Elijah in Israel?
The thing is actually in Korean tradition, preparing meals for ancestors and spiritual beings is a very long, time-honored thing, long before Christianity showed up.
Okay.
Long before Buddhism showed up. Long before Confucianism.
So at least we can say that mother's ancestors turned their filial intentions towards God.
Towards
Jesus.
Jesus, yes.
Okay.
And can say that. And there's nothing wrong or immoral or undue about it. But the thing is to claim that somehow it's special.
Above and beyond.
Well, that it's special and unique, especially in Korean culture, is ludicrous.
Okay.
In Korean culture, people make a great business selling things for when you go and make your offerings to your ancestors.
Being good is good. Being more good than somebody who's less good is still probably, good. It's good to be good. But being good doesn't buy you the grace of God.
Right, exactly. You do not earn salvation.
So at least we can say he's just making the case to show the quality of people.
Yeah, of course God wants to pick good. I mean, look at this. God prepared John the Baptist. In the Bible it says even the Pharisees and Sadducees quaked at the mere mention of John's name.
Yeah, and being a providential figure and being good and being humble about it is a really hard thing, especially when people are saying to you all the time, man, you've inspired me so much, you inspire me so much. I wish I had the kind of self-control that you have and blah, 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 blah. And you start to think that your good behavior is buying you something, and that's just a lie, and you're thinking, I've got to cash in all this merit that I've collected from my good behavior, and I deserve this and that, and I deserve this and that. And, John the Baptist, since you're speaking to him, he's like, maybe he doesn't deserve to have to go under Jesus, who's a bastard, and so he couldn't stomach certain things. So, it's just interesting that you can be full of accomplishments with God and still have still be very meritocratic about it and arrogant, really, not humble, thinking, grace will not register to you because you're thinking you deserve it and you can't emotionally reciprocate with God's grace.
Right, and this comes down to the deal is Adam is God's son, not because he deserves it, but because of God's love and grace. That's part of the original creation. It is no different in restoration. This is what Lucifer fails to see. He can't understand why God loves Adam so. Because he had done so much. Where does the thought of, I earned the love and position comes from? It comes from the ancient serpent, the great deceiver.
Right.
It is old as old can be.
Right.
And what is Andrew preaching from the pulpit right now? You listen to it for yourself. You look at what he's got up here.
True.
It is the same deceptive viewpoint and lies. The first of fallen natures. Failure to see from God's viewpoint.
Interesting to see if he'll become very meritocratic as we move on.
But Mother's mother was able to survive and bring Mother down to the south. But still, Mother's mother was looking for the Messiah. So she was prepared. She was trained and educated. with that concept. At the same time, after the Holy... So when she came before Father in 1960, Father... And she said, I am ready to follow God's will to the very end. She made that determination in front of Father. So Father felt really good about marrying Mother and said, thank you, God, for sending such a woman to Korea as Mother. But, you know, just because you're crowned the mother of the universe, as Mother was in 1960, doesn't mean that you're actually secure in that position. Mother had to go through a 7-year course from 1960 until 1968, God's day, where she had to struggle against all kinds of opposition. There were people in the church who were attacking her right and left. Older sisters who were jealous of her, who said, how come this young 16-year-old is the bride? It was my position to be the bride. God had revealed to me that I'm supposed to be the bride. So there were women who were talking that way against Mother. I know the principle better than Mother. She's just a young girl. Mother had to endure a lot. Father gave Mother a hard time too.
It's just interesting. He said the comment about the women and the other women saying, I know the principle better than Mother. I'm just thinking as I'm looking here at Andrew, what's he saying? I know the principle better than...
Hyunjin.
You got it. I've been around longer, boy. I've been called to Korea, boy.
I'm on a speaking tour.
I'm on a speaking tour about this, boy.
I'm jet setting.
I'm jet setting.
I'm impotent. Impotent.
You know, but just getting into the deal is the thing is just getting into that conflict and barbs and thorn patch of emotions Mother went through. God bless her. Really not all that different from now. All the theologians, all the people, all this, even in the true family. And even John the Baptist. Jesus comes to him humbly and says, baptize. And God speaks directly to John and says, this is my beloved Son in whom I'm well pleased. And what does John do? And often to somewhere else he goes and loses his head eventually. But what's the situation we have overall in a simplistic term, but it's valid? Is everybody's here, all this, Mother, everything, including Mother herself, everything else. What does God and true parents say in the coronation? This is my physical body. This are the ones that carry the lineage to the next generation and keep it here on earth for when I will be gone. This is it. And what did Father say many a time? None, no one.
Anybody else is a destroyer.
Yeah, that's the proclamation. But he said in public statements several times, no one understands him more completely or better than Hyunjin. No one. That includes Mother.
I mean, it's real clear from the Nigeria event that is true. I mean, because if Father is doing something that appears senile, to be senile behavior from Mother's point of view, and then Hyunjin comes in and makes sense of that behavior, okay? And then Father gets up and does a proclamation in the aftermath, right? Lifting up Hyunjin for it. Then this means that precisely where Mother gets dismissive of Father is where Hyunjin picks up and carries on with Father.
Yeah.
Refusing to leave him there, dismissing him. Okay? Hyunjin picks up and carries on beyond where Mother is willing to.
Or capable of. It's whatever, but that's speculation. But the point being is, Father in many a public setting made it very clear who he trusted absolutely, unconditionally, with the power, authority, and the very lineage that God had established through true parents here on earth.
Also, Andrew Wilson says that mother says, I'm going to go till the end. And I'm thinking, well, she was faithful till death, but not till the end. The end would be the end of her life. And the
Right.
But she wasn't even willing to see God in the so-called senile behavior. And Hyunjinim was. Hyunjinim was willing to see the move of God in the behavior that natural eyes would say, oh, this is crazy, or this doesn't make any sense. He was willing to believe that God was working through it. And that's the point where mother abandoned the idea, abandoned faith, or left father and refused to shower him with her faith, you know, because I believe you are still connected to God, so there must be some sense in this. That's what Hyunjinim clothed father in, okay? And father does a proclamation about that victory. And Hyunjinim calls it a test. But, yeah, that's why father sees Hyunjinim as somebody who he can count on. Okay.
Yeah.
But she overcame. She fulfilled her responsibility so that in 1960, on God's Day, when the true family was secure, Father could declare that this was Mother's victory. God's Day was Mother's victory. He wrote that on God's Day, after Mother confronted society and the nation and overcame everything, it was the first time in history that God and man could believe in a woman 100%. And that could be the establishment of God's Day. So Mother and I, Father said, could obtain God's seal as the true perfected family and take our position on the earth. Mother did that. Not just Father. Mother did that.
No one's disputing that.
No,
we can see that. There's a principle here, okay? When you get a crown, as somebody up in Pennsylvania is always bragging about, you still have to earn it.
Stop.
You can't just say, oh,
The thing is, who put the crown on Hyunjin's head? True parents.
Oh, I have to say this. He said when you get a crown, you still have to earn it. That's very meritocratic. Let me correct that. When you get a crown, you still have to appreciate the person who crowned you. You still have to reciprocate and honor the person who gave it to you and the intention that they have behind crowning you. Okay? That's what you need to do. And nobody can say that Hyunjin lost his respect for the person who crowned him or the meaning behind the crowning. Okay? Hyunjin hasn't lost respect for either of those things. Now, Mother being crowned has to continue to respect the person who crowned her. And, you know, there are all kinds of reports of her fighting with Father. And you know what? High Noon era, that stuff is just going to come out. I mean, you're not Mother. Deep psychology here. You're not Mother because your ancestors put you there. You're Mother because he put you there. So at the very end, when you think he's off, you still respect him because you'd still be not true Mother if it was not for him. So, you know, Andrew Wilson's point is off. His premise that he said, when you get crowned, you have to earn it. Angels think like that. Meritocratic people think like that. You can never earn. It's by grace. What you do to reciprocate as the object who receives the crown is you continue to respect the one who gave it to you, the one who crowned you, and the purpose and mission that the crown means.
Yeah. And I just want to add, it's very clear that God and Father have complete, and I do mean complete, trust in the son Hyunjanim. They put the crown on his head. He didn't put it there himself. He's the first to tell you he didn't earn it. He even said he didn't deserve it. But because he is the son of Father, because this is his Father's will, not his will, he humbles himself to that crown.
That's true. That's very true.
They're vastly different. And Andrew's saying, oh, you get the crown, but then you have to prove you earned it. Bullshit. God anointed and crowned it. Andrew, are you saying that you're telling God, oh, just because he anointed and crowned Hyunjanim, he now has to prove it to me?
That's really what it means, you know?
You know what that sounds like?
Yeah.
Just like in Isaiah it says, oh, Lucifer, son of the morning star, ye who was most high who have fallen, you who have attempted to put your throne above the most high.
Right. That is another point.
You are putting yourself above God's viewpoint and ordination.
Right.
You want to talk about raw arrogance here.
Right.
You want to talk about John the Baptist who cannot humble himself before God.
Right.
These statements are prime examples.
Yeah. So he has to prove himself.
After God.
Like you said, yeah, but he has to prove himself to the archangel. That's what he's saying.
Right.
He has to prove himself to archangelic eyes that he's worthy of a crown, the crown. So, didn't he get crowned by Kukchanim, who was the true Cain?
Yeah. Well,
Right?
this last time he put
So
the
it's
crown.
Kukchanim's responsibility as true Cain, appointed by Father, to be the one that Hyunjanim
passes
has to,
judgment on him.
So it's like, you know, this is absolutely ridiculous. The bottom line is, you know, people think that they have the right to judge true children, and they don't. True children are true children because they're true children. They're true children by grace. Our position to them, we didn't create them. We don't ordain them. We don't approve them. Okay? Our job is to believe
in who God anointed.
yeah, that, you know, like true children, regardless of, you know, the lowest behavior, regardless of the lowest behavior, they are substantially the hope of God manifested. Sometimes they don't even know who they are, because we're supposed to teach them, right? Because Father's busy loving us, so we're supposed to reciprocate by bringing his kids up to speed. So we failed that. So even the lowest behavior among true children may be because they just don't understand who they are providentially. They don't understand that they are the very manifested hope of God. Okay? And so they act accordingly. They act, you know, regardless of that. We don't judge them. They are already what they are. I mean, from their birth, they're already crowned. You know, from their birth, they're already a thing, a substantial representation of God's hope. Nobody can erase that. And the idea that we have to approve them, really? Do you think that you have you're enough of a, I don't know, whatever, that you could stand in judgment of true children? Really? I'm talking about, look, I don't like some of the stuff that they did. I don't like the idea of drugs. I've never done drugs. Adultery, right? I don't like those ideas. And true children have done those things. But still they're the manifestation of God's hope. Do you understand that? Because Satan had nothing to do with their birth. They are God's result. Father sacrificed them, ignored them, left them to be dealt with other people in a show of love for us. And if it wasn't for that, they wouldn't be brought so low, probably. But their birth is historic. Each one of them is historic. Because these are people who actually are supposed to be here. They're not from stolen sperm and stolen egg. They're from the Messiah's very physical DNA. And they have to prove themselves that they're viable life forms to us? No, they're already victory. The fact that they're walking around on the earth is already God's victory. It's just they don't know who they are. So they have to prove that they know who they are to us who don't even know who we are? Most of you people don't even know who you are. When Father said that your spouse was second Messiah, children third, you don't even deal with that. So the idea that this man is going to stand in judgment about whether or not Youngden earned his crown, the fact
ludicrous.
That the fact that
Ludicrous.
The fact that he's going to say that Youngden has to earn it in the first place, the fact that Youngden has to be a meritocratic being based on merit.
And not only that, after he was already given it.
This is absolutely, do you see how out of sync this entire church is? We are still thinking like angels and applying an angel's way of thinking, a meritocratic. Do you understand? Children are born not by their merit. You didn't do something to get born. It's just grace. Also, you're supposed to receive somebody's daughter in marriage, not because you paid for her or you did this or you did that. You receive somebody's daughter in marriage, if you're a man, by grace. If Adam would have waited and perfected himself, it wouldn't have been his merit that he would get Eve.
Nope.
Even if there was no fall, the blessing, you get somebody's daughter because
It's a blessing.
Because of grace.
It's not a paycheck.
Yeah, you don't get it because you did something. And this guy is stuck looking for
A paycheck.
Youngden to do something.
A paycheck
This
mentality.
proves that he thinks like an angel. All right, this is going to end that second segment. This is going to end the second segment, and we'll come back.